Welcome to Hardwood Handicappers with Zach Cohen, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Zachary Cohen, VSiN.com senior editor, with another episode of Hardwood Handicappers. Hardwood Handicappers is sponsored by Better Picks, the fantasy app that turns your basketball takes into cash. Download the Better app and use code VSINPOD, VSINPOD, to get $10 free, no deposit needed. That's Better Picks, VSINPOD, VSINPOD. We're going to start off today by talking about last night a little bit. I mean, that was one of the craziest nights of basketball that I've seen in some time. I mean, you had a Desmond Bane buzzer beater, Andrew Wiggins dunk at the buzzer as well after a Donovan Mitchell wild corner three tied that game. You also had the Jenkins three to send the Pistons game to overtime, and Pistons won that game after being down like 10 with 2 minutes left. Just a fantastic night of basketball. I wanted to mention that really quickly. I mean, we had a really slow NFL game, so you had a couple of NBA games to kind of really pick up the pace a little bit, get the heart beating, and it was just fun to kind of have that many good games going on at once. And then we woke up this morning, and there was obviously an NBA bombshell off the court because Shams Charania from ESPN is reporting that the Dallas Mavericks are prepared to fire Nico Harrison, which is just kind of crazy after what they allowed him to do last year. I mean, we all know what he did in trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers, but it did look like Dallas had put together a pretty good team on paper heading into this season. I mean, Anthony Davis is obviously injury prone. We all kind of were waiting for that shoe to drop, but we did think that when they got Kyrie back, adding Cooper Flagg with the number one pick, this is a team that on paper looked like they could potentially contend. Obviously, it would have taken a little bit of time to get Irving back in the mix and back healthy, but this no longer looks like a team that can make the postseason, so that really is not going to matter when Irving comes back. So, yeah, it looks like Harrison's going to be out. It's going to be a very difficult job for the next guy to come in there and try to fix that situation. Dallas is really reeling after sending Luka to Los Angeles. Luka looks like, one of the top three players in the league, as he always has, but now that he's healthier, now he's in better shape, it only looks worse. So it's just a trade that keeps looking worse, keeps on aging horribly, and it is going to be interesting to see who they get in there to replace him. I'm interested in seeing if that's even a job that is desirable, but let's get into the real stuff. Let's get into tonight's slate. It all starts with the Raptors at the Nets. Raptors laying 10.5, total 232.5. Pretty clean injury reports here. I mean, the Nets are without Cam Thomas. That is a big loss for them. He is a 20-plus point per game scorer, but Toronto really not missing anybody major. I mean, Mamu is going to be out potentially. He's listed as questionable, and this one looks like the wrong side of questionable. Solid player off the bench, but the Raptors are healthy, and this is a team that just lost in Philly, but had won and covered in 4 straight before that. And they do come into this game after having not played since Saturday. So it's a really good rest situation. This is a Raptors team that's 2-0 both straight up and against the spread as favorites of 10+ under Darko Rajakovic. This is a game that I really would expect Toronto to cruise in. I'm not sure I'm going to end up taking 10.5 myself. That is a pretty big number, but if you're looking for parlays, maybe the Raptors are a place you throw in some money line, but it's going to be an interesting game either way. I actually am going to be looking at Scottie Barnes over 1.5 made threes in this game. It's available at plus 111. He's gone over in 7 of the 10 games he's played this year. Earlier in the season, he kind of started at 0.5 with some heavily juiced overs. That's gone up to 1.5 because he's been knocking down so many, and you're seeing plus money odds on the overs. But I do think this is a situation where Barnes is averaging 4.4 attempts per game. He's going against, a bad team, might feel a little bit more of a green light to just kind of launch away. So I think that taking him at plus money odds feels like a really good value pick. And our Opta AI player prop projections over at VSiN.com, available to VSiN Pro subscribers, has Barnes making 1.9 threes tonight. That's a small edge to the over. I always like when my handicap kind of matches up with those player prop projections. And I'll also add that the Nets are allowing a league worst 41% from 3 this season. So it's Raptors or nothing for me in terms of sides, but I do like that Barnes over 1.5 made threes at plus 111. Second game of the night, Grizzlies at Knicks, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Knicks are 9.5 point favorites, over under 231.5. Another really interesting game. I mean, Memphis is 0-3 against the spread on the road this season, has not looked good. I mean, this is a Grizzlies team that I was somewhat high on entering the year. I really need to see some of those guys come off the injury report. They're still playing without Zach Edey, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr. Like, this is a team that badly needs some of these rotation pieces back, especially when you're going against a Knicks team that's currently scorching hot. I mean, the Knicks have won 4 straight games, all 4 wins by double digits. New York is up to number 2 in the league in offensive rating. Only 0.1 points off number 1, by the way, which is the Houston Rockets. And I do think we're going to see the Knicks end up being the number 1 offense in the league this season. Everything has just looked very good for New York. I mean, they're still allowing Jalen Brunson to do what he does best, which is ISO and score, whether that's in the perimeter, whether that's in the post. I mean, he's a very good post player for a player his size. He's still playing well, but everyone else is doing things with a little more purpose, and there's been a little bit more ball movement, a little bit more off-ball movement in general, and I just think that New York looks like a wagon right now. So I do think this is a game where the Knicks are probably going to flirt with covering. I really don't like taking heavy spreads, so that's the reason I'm not taking this one. And I will add that the Knicks are just 10-13 against the spread as home favorites of 6.5 to 12 points since the start of last year. Also 6-10 against the spread versus teams with winning percentages between 25% and 40% since last season. That to me was enough to stay away. Again, though, like if you're looking for parlays, maybe you kind of throw in a Raptors and Knicks one and find a third team, whether that's with another money line or an alternate spread on a spread that you like and you want a few more points. I do think the Knicks win this game somewhat comfortably. It's just I'm not looking to back them doing it at double digits. But there is a play I like in this game. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 16.5 points. That's available at -130. It's a little juicy, but over in 8 of his 11 games this year. Mitchell Robinson is questionable for New York. That is New York's best, big man defender. If Jaren Jackson gets to work specifically against Karl Anthony Towns, that's a matchup I would very much expect him to win. I think that Jackson knocks down a couple of threes in this game. I think he gets to the basket. I think we see him kind of bump people off in the mid-post area and, make that lefty floater of his. I just think that this is a game where Jackson flirts with 20 points and maybe even scores more. Just hope that this is not a blowout because we want Jackson to play his usual minute load. If he plays, 3 quarters or less because the Knicks are up too much, it's going to be tough for this to go over. Third game of the night. This is the NBC Peacock game for tonight. This is a big one. It's Celtics at 76ers. Sixers laying 1.5. Totals 231.5. Sixers available at -118 on the money line. I really like Philly in this game. I mean, Philly is 4-1 against the spread at home this season, 7-0-1 against the spread over the last 8 games in general. Celtics coming off a good win over the Magic last game, playing a little better over the last 2 or so weeks, even though they're not shooting very well. But the shooting is problematic to me. I mean, this is a team that obviously is without Jason Tatum for an extended period of time as he recovers from a torn Achilles tendon. Also moved Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Drew Holiday in the offseason. All of those guys are very good shooters. So it's not a fluke that this team is not shooting that well. Like, they are not going to be as good from deep in this Joe Mazzulla bombs away offense that we have seen in the past. I do think that that's going to play a big role in this game as well, because I don't think Boston has what it takes to consistently stop this Philly team right now. I mean, the Celtics lost a lot in terms of spacing at the center position in the offseason. Also lost a lot in terms of defense. I mean, the rim protection is just not there. Porzingis was a great rim protector for this team, and Horford was not, a big shot blocker, but he was a good defender. And this is a Celtics team that is currently allowing opponents to shoot 67.8% at the rim this season. So I think with the Sixers having that bursty backcourt of Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, they're going to live at the rim in this game. There's not going to be a lot of resistance. And when they do need to knock down some threes, Celtics are allowing 41.7% on corner threes this season. So the types of games where you see Kelly Oubre kind of get it going from deep and, Quentin Grimes, this feels like one of them. So Philly was a play that I made at -115. I would play that up to -125. I think the Sixers get the job done at home in this one. Before moving on to the next game, which was definitely our game of the night in Warriors Thunder, I just want to remind you that if you're looking to sharpen your edge this season, VSiN Pro is where to start. Get advanced analytics, player prop projections, and expert insights used by serious bettors every day. Try it out for only $9.99 your first month and see what smart bettors are using to beat the books. Head to vsin.com/subscribe and check out all the subscription options. That is where I get all the Opta AI player prop projections. That is where you will get all of the Opta AI player prop projections. It is a great deal. Those projections are available every night. You get 50 plus picks. Edges to overs, unders for some of the biggest players in the league, some of the smallest players in the leagues. What you will find on that page is just fascinating. And then you get all of our other work, whether that is the written work that I'm doing, that, Steve Makinen's doing in the NBA, or all of the other sports we are doing. It is a great time to be a VSiN pro. All right. I just mentioned it. That game of the night to me, Golden State Warriors at Oklahoma City Thunder. 8 p.m. Eastern. Thunder are laying 7.5 in that game, total 228.5. Injury report is definitely one to monitor in this one. Al Horford questionable for Golden State, but for Oklahoma City, you're missing Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, and Jalen Williams, and that is J-Dub, the good Jalen Williams. Not to be disrespectful to the other, but this is the superstar Jalen Williams. This is a big absence on the injury report for the Thunder. This is the game of the night I just mentioned. I think that Golden State is going to get up for this game. I mean, Golden State is just 11th in the league in net rating right now. Oklahoma City is first once again, but we just saw, some big games out of the Warriors over the last couple of weeks. So we saw the Warriors beat Denver on opening night. Denver's number 2 in the league in net rating this season. I think that Golden State, with that elite defense, which we have seen since they acquired Jimmy Butler last year, once they got Butler, they were number 1 in the league in defensive rating. This year, they are number 8 in points allowed per 100 possessions, 6th in defensive rating raw. I think that Golden State's going to be able to kind of slow down this Oklahoma City offense that, like I said, is missing a few key pieces. And I do think that this Warriors team, while they are 1-5 against the spread on the road this season, they are 69-34. 16-4, 39-4 against the spread when facing teams with winning percentages of 70 plus under Steve Kerr. I just think that this Golden State team can be trusted to get up for these massive games. This is a team full of dogs, and I know that they are older dogs, like what is that movie? John Travolta and Robin Williams, old dogs. They are going to be up for this game. They're going to be fired up. I think the defense is going to be very much troubling for the Thunder, and I do think that Oklahoma City is going to have some trouble stopping Steph Curry in this game. And if they do put a little bit too much onus on stopping Curry, that's going to allow guys like Draymond Green to pick them apart in those 4-on-3 situations where he becomes a very dangerous passer. So the Warriors plus 7.5, a somewhat big play for me, and I think sprinkling plus 250 is also a good move with all the absences on that injury report. Next game is one that I actually locked in last night. Pacers at Jazz, 9 p.m. Eastern. The Pacers are laying 2.5 now. I got this at minus 118, but I would probably lay the 2.5 if I had to, or if you can find, a minus 135 or something in that range. That is a play that I'd be looking to make with Indiana. I mean, this is a different Jazz team than last year. They say they want to be a little bit more competitive, but they played last night. And I'd just be really surprised if we see Lauri Markkanen playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. That is not something that he did last season. I know the tanking is not something that they are outwardly doing right now, but, protecting Markkanen is important, whether you view him as your franchise cornerstone or you view him as just a trade asset. Like, you do not want this guy who had some back problems last year, at least allegedly. You don't want him getting injured this season. And if Markkanen is not out there, I don't know how Utah keeps up with Indiana. I mean, the Pacers are starting to get a little bit healthier. Andrew Nembhard is back. That gives them, a very good primary on-ball handler. And I do think that this team with Pascal Siakam, they have the better players overall in this game, and they have a little bit better coaching. I mean, I love Will Hardy, but Rick Carlisle is as good as it gets in terms of putting together an offense. And Utah, just 24th in the league in defensive rating this year, a little bit better than last season, but I do think they're going to slip down to the range where they were last year. I mean, they were the worst team in the league defensively last season, might end up being there this year. I mean, Walker Kessler was their best rim protector at the center position. He is out for the year with shoulder surgery. So I think that Indiana gets quality looks at the rim. I think that Indiana gets quality looks from 3. And I do think this is a game the Pacers lose after a tough loss against the Timberwolves last night, where they looked really hot to start the game and just kind of faded in the third quarter and let it get away. Final game of the night, Denver Nuggets at Sacramento Kings. That is at 11 p.m. Eastern. It's one of those very, very late tips that I know a lot of my friends on the East Coast are not going to be staying up to watch, but Kings getting 8.5 at home, total 242.5. This is a game where I think that there's going to be sharp bettors on Sacramento again, like there were when they played Minnesota the other night and got absolutely trucked. I just can't bring myself to side with those sharp bettors in this one. I'm not going to end up taking anything in this game, to be honest. I mean, the splits on our VSiN website, head over to VSiN.com, betting splits to check those out. 75% of the tickets on Denver, 80% of the handle. But the spread has moved from 6.5 to 8.5. That's pretty normal when you're getting that type of action. So I wouldn't say it's overwhelming sharp action, but I just do think it's going to be a game where you're going to have a little too much on the Nuggets. I don't want to be laying the points. I would maybe look to Denver in a money line parlay, with some of the teams I mentioned earlier, like Toronto, like New York. Maybe you throw all three of them together. I mean, 3-team money line parlays, they can be, sucker. I know a lot of people like to hate on money line parlays, especially in the NBA, but sometimes they win, and that seems like one that really, really should. I mean, if this is a game where Domantas Sabonis misses for Sacramento, he is questionable on the injury report. This is definitely a game that I can see the Nuggets winning comfortably. So that's really all I have for that game. I mean, Opta AI does have a pretty sizable edge to the over on Aaron Gordon's props. So if you look at Aaron Gordon points, that's available at 16.5 tonight. Opta AI actually has him at 19.96, so maybe that's the way to go. Nick Clifford over 5.5 points is another place that I considered. That's available -130. Clifford has had 8+ in 3 of the last 4, but this is a game that I think is best to stay away from, especially with Sacramento just having some bad things kind of leaking out of that locker room. A lot of those players are definitely upset with the way that the season has gone. I think that Sabonis' name is going to start to show up in trade rumors. So maybe Denver wins this game big. I don't really want to take it because Sacramento is a tough place to play. And if this is a big Russell Westbrook game, I don't want to be betting against Russell Westbrook. He has single-handedly won them a couple of games over the last few weeks. But before we get into my best bets and kind of wrap this up, let's take a minute to shout out Better again. If you think you could read matchups, rotations, and usage, prove it on Better Picks. Pick more or less on player stat lines and turn your basketball analysis into real money. Right now, use code VSiNPod to get $10 free. No deposit required. That's VSINPOD. Make 2 sharp picks and you can win up to 1,000 times your entry. Live in 33 states. Download Better and get in the game. All right, well, let's wrap this up a little bit. I have 5 picks. It's a short slate for tonight, only 6 games. There was 9 last night, but I have more picks tonight than I did last night. I have Scottie Barnes over 1.5 made threes against the Nets, +111. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 16.5 points at -130 against the Knicks. Sixers money line -115 against the Celtics. Warriors +7.5, -108 against the Thunder. And then Pacers -118 at the Jazz. So those are my 5 picks. I will have more up at VSiN.com very likely. I do sides and totals every day. I also do player props every day. So head over to VSiN.com, check out what I have. I definitely added a few after yesterday's podcast, but I'm excited for tomorrow's podcast. I'm excited to see how these ones go. Make sure you come back for another episode of Hardwood Handicappers tomorrow.